I'm going to share 10 lessons that I've learned from 13 years of link building and what's currently working now in 2022 to get links. Let's just start off with a quick bit about my background. I've been in the internet business for 13 years, going back to 2009 when I started an e-commerce website that I ultimately ran for 3 years and then sold in 2012. And then in 2012, I shifted gears a bit and got into the offline business space. I started a local home service contracting business that I grew rapidly through digital marketing methods. And in between now and then, I've gone on to either buy or invest in other home service contracting businesses that I use the same online marketing methods to grow. And then going back to 2018, I started a lead generation business, generating leads in high volume, high paying categories, specifically financial services and insurance products. So I've got that. We've got a content website around that. And all through that whole time period, I have bought, sold, ultimately flipped a few websites. So for the last 13 years, I've been deep in the internet marketing space. You can see a ClickFunnels 2 Comma Club award over my shoulder. I've also spoken on some top podcasts on digital marketing, like the Perpetual Traffic podcast. So yeah, I've got a lot of experience in all through this time. I've had my foot dipped into link building. So I'm going to share with you some of the lessons I've learned. Let's jump into it, starting with number one, because where else would we start? Number one, links matter even now in 2022, but they don't matter that much. So some people say links don't matter anymore. I will say that is basically false. Links are still an important ranking factor, but they are not the end-all be-all like they were 10 to 15 years ago, right? Like you got a few good backlinks and boom, you'd be up at the top. I think Google is much more advanced and looks at much more or many other signals besides just links. So they do matter, but not that much, but they don't matter as much as they did, I should say. All right, let's go on to number two, because this is all about links. 2, do follow links in content are the best. So links can be anywhere on a page or site. They could be in the header. They could be in the footer. They could be in the sidebar. You probably haven't seen any links in the sidebar for 10 years. They could be in comments. In the actual body content, do follow links are the best types of links you can get. Most other links really don't make a meaningful impact, and it's not worth considering them as a valuable link to your website. Number 3, the only page metric that matters is actual traffic. So when it comes to analyzing where your links are coming from or where you're getting a link from and the value of it, the only metric I consider is the actual traffic on that page. Now, there's all kinds of other scores out there. There's like PageRank, there's authority score, there's domain score. There's probably 10 dozen of them. I really don't know what they are anymore, because the only thing that I am concerned about is the traffic, the real traffic that page gets. So if I had the opportunity to get a link from a site, like by maybe buying it, I don't buy links, but if I were going to buy a website if I were going to buy links, I would make sure that the website actually gets actual traffic, pop it into SEMrush, assuming my target market is the US, seeing how much traffic it actually gets from the US. That is what I would, consider, or that's the metric I would look at to determine how valuable the actual link is. All right, and this is something that you see come up a lot in the website flipping space. This is just kind of an anecdote wormhole I'm going to go down here. In the website flipping space, or websites that are for sale, maybe not even, flipping them, maybe you want to buy an actual website, you see a lot of websites that get a ton of backlinks from all these spammy places and other websites that don't have any traffic. And ultimately, these websites crash and burn. Having been at this for quite some time now, I've seen this happen a lot. And I've actually done, I think, a video or blog. One of the two, I've certainly covered this in multiple ways, actually. Websites that I've seen that were listed for sale a few years ago, and then a year or two later, I kind of check them back out, and they were, when they were for sale, they were on this rapid growth path, just growing up and up and up, and they had millions of backlinks often. And they were sometimes making millions of dollars. This is not limited to small kind of spammy sites. And then 2 years later, they've nearly crashed and gone to zero. And I feel really unfortunate for whoever bought these websites, based on these numbers. So yes, the only links that are really valuable are links from real websites that get traffic. Number 4, this is about link building. So we've been talking about, kind of the properties of links. Let's talk about link building here. If someone else is publishing about the tactic, it is usually exploited. I'm going to reference the Brian Dean skyscraper backlinko tactic. Right? Create a skyscraper piece, do this outreach, right? All of these tactics that you see out there for link building, by the time somebody's publishing them, they're exploited. These people do not, I say these people, but no one really shares their winning tactic until they've kind of exploited it and other people have caught on. Then they share it publicly. So what people are sharing publicly when it comes to link building tactics specifically, and even other types of things, I do this myself. I make a lot of videos on paid ads. What I share on paid ads is not the most cutting edge stuff that I'm working on. It's stuff that has worked well for me consistently for a bit of time, but it's not what is, it's not what my big golden nugget is right now. It's not my big magic sauce. Same thing applies to link building. By the time you're reading link building tactics, they're generally exploited, right? And now all the website owners are getting 1,000 emails a day saying, hey, I created this awesome new 10,000 word piece on dog training. Do you want to link to me? No, because I've gotten this email 100 times today. Number 5, viral content that gets links is not systematic, okay? So you'll often hear in the marketing world, create a piece of viral content that's going to get you backlinks. Well, that is not something you can systematically do. For every winning case study, there are 100 failures, and you might find an agency that's like, we create viral content, right? We create viral videos. Well, for every one of them that goes viral, there are countless other ones that they have that did not go viral. It is not something you can do systematically. It needs a bit of luck. So for that reason, I do not try to create viral content because you can spend a ton of time on it. You can spend eternity on it and not really get the stroke of luck that you need to get that virality. Number 6, tying in with that blog post, don't really get that virality. Nobody really follows blogs anymore. Nobody really reads blogs anymore. Keep that in mind. So to really get something viral, you really need to create most likely some type of video is what is going to get it viral. I would say an infographic or image that really doesn't get viralness these days in 2022. That ship has kind of sailed at this point. 7, active link building has been a colossal waste of time, okay? And by this, I mean actually, doing outreach or some type of campaign, finding broken links in content and emailing the current website owner and saying, hey, your link's broken, here's a good piece on it. Skyscraper. Those types of things have never paid any dividends for me. I've spent a lot of time doing link building tactics, and they've ultimately been a colossal waste of time. So most specifically, I mean, doing active outreach to build links. So keep that in mind. I know there are a lot of people that disagree with me, but I know the people that actually own high volume websites will agree with me on this. The real high volume blog and content websites, they really don't do any link building. And I that's something else I think I should point out here. A lot of the tactics that you kind of read about, these big websites, the high volume content publishers, they really don't do any of them. You'd be very surprised at how disorganized their content publishing schedule is. I mean, other than just publish a lot of it, that is basically their organization. Like, hey, we need 10 new pieces to go out a day. That is their organization. They really don't do much keyword research. I mean, they've just kind of hammered out their entire topic and published thousands and thousands of posts. They've covered every keyword, right? And they just publish. Same thing with their link building. Most of them really don't do any of that. Number 8, publishing lots of quality content over time. That should say over time, not of time. Not in caps. Over time will pick up links. So the more the more hooks you ultimately put in the water, the more fish you ultimately catch. That applies to link building, and that is how high volume publishers get links. One of the ways we're going to kind of talk about this here in expanded format more towards the end. Number 9, the more traffic your site gets, the more links it will get. Synergy. So this kind of isn't really a link building thing, but it works to get links, and that is targeting low competition keywords, right? So you have to start somewhere, and if you're going to start off targeting high competition keywords, or subsequently the high competition or high volume ones, you're never going to get any traffic. You're going to be published, way back on page 10 if you're even indexed at all for that keyword. Whereas if you go for the low volume ones, you're not going to get much traffic, but you're going to be up at the top of Google, so you'll get some traffic, and some is better than 0. And with some traffic, you get links. And then, the more links you get, the more traffic you get. The more traffic you get, the more links you get. Keep synergizing around. So this kind of plays itself into the keyword research aspect of it. Number 10, real personal relationships with other bloggers is how most get links. And you can do that by going to conferences and stuff, right? If you have to email somebody to ask them, for a link, and it's somebody you don't know, you're probably not going to get a link, and you're going to come back to my number 7, which is active link building has been a colossal waste of time. Networking in real personal relationships with other bloggers does get links. So I don't do this particularly, but I do know some people that do, but they go to their industry conferences. Like there's a financial bloggers conference, right? And I think there's even like a preppers media, preppers being like people that are worried about doomsday. There's like a preppers media convention, right? Going to those types of things, they make relationships with others, and now they get a direct line of communication and a personal line of communication. So they can say, hey, Jim, we published this article here. I think you should link to it. And Jim knows you personally. So Jim will be like, okay, cool. Put a link in it. You owe me one kind of thing. That is how a lot of the really big sites get links. And that's an expensive, time-consuming process because it's not like you put money in, you get a link. You have to go to these conferences. You have to do the networking. You have to be good at the networking thing. And a lot of them are big business, so they're going to send like 5 people to it. Sending 5 people to a multi-day conference is like a $100,000 gig. It's a big deal like that. But that is how the real content publishing websites get links. It is not something I've done personally. I think I mentioned that already, but I do know a few people, particularly in the financial blogging space. I know someone in that space really well, and he does very well by going to conferences and meeting people, and then that's how he gets his links. All right, so finally, what works now? All right, well, we can pick a few things out of them here, and there's 2 of them that really jump out at me, and then we're going to kind of expand on them, and they are publishing lots of quality content over time will pick up links, and this one here, 8 and 9. The more traffic your site gets, the more links it will get. Ultimately, synergy, right? So coming back to this, publishing a lot of high quality content will pick up links, but you got to publish it on the low competition, keywords, right? So I'm talking, I got a video on it. I will link to it below, but basically we go into SEMrush, and how I do this is I find keywords, with less than a difficulty score of 40, and we publish on those, but we've got hundreds of them, and they are picking up links. In the last, I'd say about 3 months, I've picked up links from high-level pages on Amazon. I was going to say Amazon. You want to say Amazon when you start saying MSN. But I've picked up high-level links on MSN.com and Forbes.com, right? In the last couple of months, not by asking for them, but just by having content on it, right? So I've got hundreds and hundreds of blog posts out there. They've all been done on keywords that are low competition. So I'm getting a good bit of traffic to my site now, and I'm picking up links. But what I'm finding really works and really helps is having good custom graphics in the blog post. So making long form blog posts, and I was doing this like 4,000 to 7,000 words, doesn't really get anywhere. But having a 1,000 to 2,000 word post with a couple custom graphics, right? Maybe you do some research and pull some statistics in and make your own custom graph. Maybe you make your own custom chart, possibly an infographic, etc. Making the piece look good really picks up links. Because nobody wants to link to just a cliche old blog post that's got a featured image title and then the body. People want to link to the content that looks visually good. And this is something that I don't want to say I overlooked, but it was something for a while I really didn't care much about, because being a direct response marketer, I know that most of my action is going to happen on mobile. And on mobile, you really can't see all the page elements, so it really doesn't matter what your page looks like. It's just purely about the content in the copy, and not so much about the visuals. Well, links happen on a desktop computer, right? Nobody's, doing their research and writing an article that's going to include links embedded in it on their cell phone. They're doing that on their computer, and they're going to want to link to other content that looks good. So creating a lot of content on low competition keywords and making that look good with custom visuals and custom graphics. I do a lot of custom charts in my pages. That content will get you links, and I'm really happy to report that I'm seeing that synergize. You can look at some of my other videos, and I didn't plan on showing that in this presentation, but you can look at some of my other videos and see the traffic growth. And since I've made the last video, my traffic is up a ton. So that's what's working for me now. What do you guys think? What's working for you guys on link building in 2022? Let me know in the comments below. I'm signing off on this one.